Shalom. I'm giving all praise to Yahweh Shem El Shaddai Shem Rukakodah. Shalom to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect out there. Shalom to you all. Anyway, I'm going to entitle this video, The Israelites in Secular History. The Levitical priests, or the Levites, I'll see what I'll do with that. The Levites received gold and silver as tithes. And there's a handful of scriptures on that, but this goes into Titus raiding the temple, and there was an arch put up called the honorary arch of Titus, which looks almost exactly to the arch that was erected on 4th Street at Washington Square Park. There's an arch there, arch, however you want to say it. And it was considered an honorary arch, which further proves that these presidents, in another life, they were the Roman emperors. And I mentioned also in the title that I mentioned gold and silver, that the Levites, because you have a certain group saying that the Levites didn't receive tithes of actual money. They did receive tithes of actual money, gold and silver, and cattle and other things. So here's the account. So I typed in Titus raided the temple of gold. I should have put in, I just put gold and silver, but of gold and silver. Yes, Titus and the Roman army looted gold, silver, and other treasures from the Israelite temple. I won't say Jewish, Israelite temple in Jerusalem in 70 CE, the Common Era. So they mentioned gold and silver. Now, did the Levites, were they moonlighting as I don't know, 3-card Molly people? Were they playing 3-card Molly with the people and get money? Where did the Levites get all this gold and silver in great abundance? That was through the tithes. Okay? Remember Yahushua that whipped the wicked, I'll say scribes, Pharisees. These guys are high up sitting on the seat of Moses, which included wicked Levites, and they were dealing with money. They were exchanging whatever money that the Israelites had that was living outside of Israel. They would be using that particular money. So in order to pay the Levites money, because they didn't bring cattle and we're going to give you the shoulder cattle, we're going to bring it. No, they brought with them money in the form of gold and silver. Gold and silver is real money, and I've been saying that for years. And now they're talking about going into doing an audit on the Fort Knox. Well, you got Fort Knox, you got gold in West Point, you got gold in the Federal Reserve of New York, you got gold in a reserve in Colorado, and maybe other places. No, I'm not even talking about the gold stash in other parts like in London and England. So, history tells you that people always dealt with gold and silver as a medium of exchange, which is money. So, did the Levites get tithes in the form of money? You got damn right they did. Abraham gave Melchizedek, which is a king of righteousness, which is our Lord. He gave him all that 10% of all he had. When you look up the word tithe, the word tithe means tenth. It just means a tenth of something. Yes, Titus and the Roman army looted gold and silver and other treasures from the Jewish temple or Israelite temple in Jerusalem in 78 CE. How the looting occurred. A captured priest and temple treasurer, because they had gold and silver, surrendered the treasures to the Romans. The treasures were paraded through Rome in a triumphal procession. And I'm going to show you the arch. Somebody erected, it was his brother that had the arch erected, and it was showing you how they looted. It's still there today. It's showing, it's a tourist attraction to this day in Italy. The Romans were, the treasurers were paraded through, the treasures were paraded through Rome in a triumphal procession, a parade. The riches from the temple were used to mint coins. You mint coins with gold and silver, with the legend Judea Capta, which means Judah is conquered or captured. Capta means conquered, captured. Right here it says Judea defeated. How the loot was used, the loot or the money, silver and gold, was used to fund the construction of the Colosseum, which at that time was called the the Flavian Amphitheater, but now it's called the Colosseum, and it still stands there today. Another tourist attraction. So when you go into that history, if you go into a deep dive into the Roman history, and you go into the Middle East, of the part where Jerusalem is, it's going to speak about the Israelites. It's going to speak about the Messiah. A used arena in Rome, which still stands today. The loot was, and by the way, Bruce Lee made the movie before he died. It was called Return of the Dragon, but it was called something else. I believe it was called The Way of the Dragon, but after he died, they changed the name to Return of the Dragon. And the last scene was a scene with himself, Bruce Lee, and Chuck Norris. And that was in the Coliseum. So they did whatever they had to do, rent the Coliseum, that part of the Coliseum, to have that fight. So it says the loot was used to decorate the Arch of Titus, a triumphal arch or honorary arch that stands today on the Via Sacra in Rome. And I guess that means the sacred way of Rome, which I may even look into that. If somebody look into it, it's not all that important. Via means way. Sacra should mean sacred, the sacred way, but I'm going to look it up, all right? Other consequences of the war, the Romans forbade the Israelites from rebuilding the temple. The Romans established a permanent garrison in Jerusalem, which is a precinct. When you're in the hood, you got this precinct, that precinct, those are garrisons, but there's no walls. The wall is a visible wall of jurisdiction. The Romans abolished the Sanhedrin, which were the so-called Jewish Israelite leaders that sat in Moses' seat, and replaced it with a Roman procurator's court. The fall of Jerusalem was a dark time in Israelite history. They keep putting that Jewish stuff. Let me do this. I said I was going to go into, let me do this. Via Sacra. Let's see if I'm correct. Via means way, and I believe Sacra means like the holy way, the right way, the righteous way. Let's do this. Meaning. Via Sacra is a Latin phrase that translates to sacred, or did I say holy? Sacra is holy. I was correct. Sacra, sacred street. Via is street, but it's also way. Via, way, sacred way, righteous way. So that's where they erected the honorary arch of Titus. It was the main street in ancient Rome, connecting the Capitoline Hill, which in D.C. is Capitol Hill, to the Coliseum. And let me give you the arch. The Arch of Titus. The Arch of Titus. Here we go. Give me a second here. Let me get my bearings straight. So if you wanted to go right now, if you was in Rome, Italy, it's closed. Arch of Titus. Okay. Let me go to the images. There they go. Let me open this up. This is them. This is them actually looting. They got the menorah. That's them looting the money, the gold. They minted it into Roman coins. Anyway, with that, on to the next Shalom.